Okay, so I think you're the only person that I know that I can talk to that can really tell me the full story of what happened to PS1 and exactly what.
The full story. Yeah. Um, how far back do you want me to start?
Well, as far back as you want to, as far back as you think is
Um,
sensible.
well, we've been in this space for 5 years, more or less.
Right.
When we got this space, it was a deal that was made with our parent organization, the James Gang, um, which was at the time a University of Iowa group. Um, and that's how they kind of got in with the University Foundation, and how the University Foundation came to give us a nice free rent and help us be in the space. So for the last 4.5 years, we've been putting on shows and exhibitions and kind of making it a do-it-yourself venue for anyone in the community to, you know, put on their play or their music or art or whatever. About a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, we went to firm up the deal and say, what is our lease actually? How can we stay in this space for a long time? And it's okay. It's okay. After approaching them about a lease, we found out that our lease is actually expired. We don't really have a working lease, so we took steps to try and get that implemented. And in going through all that, various people kind of revisited our relationship and realized that Public Space One was not really the organization that originally made the deal with the space. They were still willing to work with us. They knew we worked with a lot of university groups. They liked that we were a non-alcoholic venue. But through working with it, through working out the lease and everything, they came up with numbers for us to pay rent and utilities, and it became something that was beyond what we could make, because we let people do things on a very accessible level, but that wouldn't pay the rent that they want to charge us right now. So the decision was made to move in fully to our other space at the Wesley Center, where we can do what we want to do. We can program at night. We don't have to abide by the business hours that they wanted to put on our venue. And it just made more sense for the long-term plan of the organization to begin a space that allowed us to fully program what we want to program, instead of having to work against us at every turn and have us dealing with building hours that they don't want us in the building and that sort of thing. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, pretty much. And I also heard that there were like homeless people crapping in the hallways at least one time or something like that.
I think that's kind of the underlying issue with the way the building got locked down.
Right, and I remember there was like the locked door problems, and they were like locking up the, that like police would come by to sort of lock the door or whatever they were there to do.
Yeah, because it's a university building. It's like a mixed-use university building, which is a really problematic building. It steps off the Piedmont around all the bars. It's a problematic building for the university, and we're the one tenant in the space that is open after hours. Subway has a private entrance, so they can stay open late and not be accessible in the Jefferson building. We unfortunately don't have that option. So anytime we're open, the whole building has to be open, and the university saw this as a huge liability. And
yeah,
really,
right.
that's the main reason why they wanted to enforce policies about us closing early, why they wanted to kind of push to have our performances not take place here, and ultimately why it made sense for us to
not continue the lease, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are your hopes for the future of the PSZ space?
Our hopes are to be very similar. I mean, the performance space over there is twice as big. Right now we're sharing it with the free lunch program, but they have plans to exit, and once they exit, we're going to take over the whole basement of the Wesley Center.
And when exactly is the transition going to be complete? When are there going to be like shows and all that happening?
We have a couple shows planned now. Once we move the PA over there, we have to figure out how to store it and be able to move it in and out with the free lunch program. Free lunch has to be out by January 2014. We're hoping they might be out a little earlier, so they could potentially be out as soon as August or September, although that's kind of rumor at this point. We're really hoping 2014 is right at the beginning is when we can transition to be fully in that space and do more shows on a regular basis.
Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Yes.